We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome to the August 18th Advanced Learning Library Board of Directors meeting. Hope you're all having a good summer under the circumstances, and we miss seeing you here at the board table. First thing we would like to do is have an approval of the agenda. Everybody should have received their packet via email. And anyone who makes a motion, I remind, please state your name in making the motion so that we know who to put into the minutes. So at this time, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Shannon Littlejohn, I so move.
Motion by Shannon, is there a second?
This is Lauren, I'll second.
Thank you, Lauren. There's a second by Lauren. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 3 is public comment. We do not have anyone for public comment today. Item number 4 will be the approval of the July 21st Advanced Learning Library Board of Directors meeting minutes. Everyone should have received that in their packet as well. Is there a motion to approve as presented, or are there any corrections?
Donna Neal, motion to approve.
Jennifer Goheen.
We have a motion by Jennifer and a second by Jonathan.
Is now joining.
I don't make, on principle, I don't make a motion to approve minutes. If someone else wants to move that.
Shelby Peterson.
Is now joining.
Welcome, Shelby. We have a motion by Jennifer. I do not have a second yet.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Second by Tadana Neal.
Thank you, Tadana. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding the approval of the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Oh, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5, unfinished business. This is the proposal for the Maya Angelou Northeast Branch. Amon, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. We've been having discussion over the past couple of meetings about having the mural at Maya Angelou. We ran into some unforeseen issues in terms of needing to get approval from the Maya Angelou Foundation. And with COVID and everything, with that all kind of uncertainty in the air, call it Real Men, Real Heroes, still very committed to the project, but he just wants to reestablish back in 2021 to give the COVID situation a little more opportunity to settle down with school and everything in flux. And we also need time to get in touch with the Maya Angelou Foundation. We have been in conversation with those folks, but there is a cost associated with that, and I don't believe that that's a cost that Real Men, Real Heroes had anticipated in the outset. But Kyle said, so far what he's hearing, that isn't going to be a barrier, and they should be ready to get right back going up in 2021. But he just wants to take his time and make sure that we have everything in process and planning, even the overall look, because there was some recommendations made by the design council in terms of making the artwork a little bit more vibrant, and also doing some more kind of technical studies with the material going on the building, as opposed to maybe being able to deploy a canvas. So all of those things combining together, all groups together just did not want to just try to rush this thing to throw it together to have it. And of course, when you add on the concern of the health and the safety, especially with having young people out there and the gatherings and stuff like that, everybody just felt like 2021 would be a great opportunity to come back to the table to readdress this and get this thing knocked out. But all groups are still committed and interested and want to make this happen in 2021.
Very good. Thank you, Lamont. Does any board member have any questions for Lamont or any comments regarding this issue? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Thank you, Lamont.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 6, under new business, we have customer account access. We have John Desario from the Wichita Public Library Foundation with us today. John, can you hear us okay? John Desario?
Yes, I can.
Okay, there you go. John?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right.
The floor is yours. Welcome to our meeting.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to attend the meeting and speak. As you heard, my name is John DeCessor. I'm a member of the Wichita Public Library Foundation Board. And I'm here with a request for collaboration that will help cultivate some long-term relationships beneficial to the mission of the Wichita Public Library. The foundation is requesting permission to mail to a group of approximately 7,000 library users as part of our year-end fundraising campaign. The description of that group is included in the request memorandum. I want you to know, and the foundation does as well, that we share your concern for protecting the privacy of library users, which is why, as part of this request, the foundation will never take possession of this list of library users. As detailed in the memorandum, the foundation would only receive the contact information of people who respond to the mailing with either a donation or a request to be added to our contact list. This is part of a multifaceted fundraising effort aimed at supporting the mission of the Wichita Public Library. It's in line with requests that have previously been approved by the library board, and we believe it's sound strategy to ask our loyal customers of the library to consider a gift to the foundation. And I'll welcome any questions you may have regarding this item.
Thank you, John. Does any board member have a question regarding this issue for John? We'll need a motion. John, I think it's pretty straightforward. We're happy to help. We'll go ahead and open up for a motion to approve at this time. Is there a motion to accept this request? Shannon, you look like you're about to say something.
I will. I so move.
Thank you, Shannon. Is there a second?
Jonathan Winkler, I second.
We have a second by Jonathan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, John. We
Thank
appreciate
you
your coming to our meeting today, and we're glad to get this taken care of for you. And good luck.
Very much appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Have a good day, John. Next on our agenda will be item 6B, proposed changes to library policies, and that would be Jonathan.
Mostly small changes. Tending towards reorganization. The one discussed last month. That will result in us eliminating 2 positions. We are also moving the bit about film and filming without obtaining releases to the customer in that content. Making some changes to circulation parameters. Also, there's information that has been added.
Very good. In your packet is the information that Jonathan refers to. And of course, this has to do with, as Jonathan explained, and also keeping the manual up to date. So this is not new information, and it is in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the policy changes as presented?
This is Lauren. I move to What would I say? Accept the policy changes?
Thank you, Lauren. Is there a second?
Jonathan Winkler seconds.
Jonathan has seconded. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 6C will be the annual ratification of Internet Acceptable Use Policy. Jonathan?
We have to do this every 3 years. It's kind of like we have to go under the umbrella of Kansas at CIPA. We're doing it every year to be sure. So we are basically reapproving the policy as it is currently existing. No changes. So go ahead. I move to approve.
Very good. We have a motion by Jonathan to ratify the Internet Acceptable Use Policy on an annual basis. There are no changes as was presented. Is there a second?
This is Donna D. I second.
Thank you, Donna. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. On to the July 2020 finance report and bills. Aaron, are you with us?
I am. Can you guys hear me?
The floor is yours.
Perfect. So hopefully everyone has had a chance to review the financials in our packets, and I have a couple of things to point out before we accept the report. So on the revenue report, when you first look at it, it looks like we had a really great month for revenue. However, there was an error. The library received a large E-rate reimbursement that was actually miscoded by the finance department. So that falsely inflated our annual revenue by about 10%. However, June and July have actually been slightly higher than what we would have predicted based on COVID. So that's good. The grant fund summary report, we haven't received word yet about the decision on our 2021 E-rate application. So we've been really conservative as far as spending goes, since we can't guarantee that we'll get the 90% subsidies that we've come to expect. And then in the general fund bills, the total is slightly less than we would normally anticipate, but there are some monthly billings from other city departments that didn't come through. So we should be seeing, on the August financial reports, we should be seeing 2 months worth of charges for those items. And then COVID is still separated out so that they can document expenses, so the city can document expenses for potential reimbursement from the CARES funding. Those expenses would be salaries and benefits for employees on COVID leave and for enhanced custodial and cleaning supplies. And then finally, on the gift and memorial bills line item, a certificate of deposit was redeemed in July and has been reinvested in August. These are funds from the technology and branch enhancement funds that are being invested until they're needed for the now deferred branch master plan projects.
I'm sorry, someone called and I couldn't hear the rest of that sentence.
It was the certificate of deposit will be reinvested until we need it for the branch plan.
Thank you, Aaron. Does anybody have any questions for Aaron before we make a motion? Okay, hearing none. Committee did not meet. So Aaron, are you making the motion to approve?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the July finance report and bills.
Very good. I will second that motion. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Special committee reports. None of the committees met, so I'll just kind of go around and let you.
No, we've got the 4 committee chairs.
Yeah, the support organ. Gotcha. Randy, are you with us for planning and facilities? Okay, we'll go on to Jonathan. Jonathan, is there any report you'd like to make?
We did not meet, so there's nothing to report.
Very good. Lamont, if you're still with us, is there anything aside from what you've already given us that you'd like to report?
I am here. Did anyone from my team pick that up, or am I good to go? I didn't want to.
I'm here, Lamont. I'll take it.
You want to take it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. We have a little bit of news on the Linwood Library, the new Linwood Library, starting with some signage there. And we have not met, so this is reported to us though, but and we will be talking more as this gets closer. But just to read you this quick report, as the relocation date gets closer, we'll be talking to Wichita Transit about promotions on buses on the routes that go along Harry Street, as well as coordinating with USD 259 for information. They are asking ideas from the Public Affairs Committee on this topic, and the anticipated opening is the first quarter of 2021, which I was really tickled to death about. So well, I think that we'll probably try to get together as Public Affairs and just do a little bit of pre-planning, you know, with who we notify and what we can do to help with the promotions, and maybe send in some good invites or just news updates out to our governors, city council, legislators. And that's about all I know there. We'll be having some signage right away, and put stuff in the District 3 newsletter. Here's one thing that I thought might be fun. I won't go on and on about this, but I just wrote it down that we should probably invite the District Advisory Board from District 3 to come see this, in addition to our city council and folks like that. So that's all I have, and we'll go forward from there.
Thank you, Shannon. Any questions for Shannon? Okay, thank you, Shannon. We'll go back to Randy. If we can't hear Randy if he's there, but I know we've got a planning and facilities report, so I'm going to turn it over to Director Berner.
Randy, I'm just going to double check. You want to try again to see if we can hear you? Yeah, the mic's going on and off, but we're not hearing. So apologies, Randy. I'm just going to go ahead and hit some of the things that you and I have talked about. A week ago, the city council did approve some repairs and enhancements to Sycamore Street, which is the street that goes along the east side of the library. That work, I think, should begin shortly. If you have questions about that, I would reach out to Randy, because he maybe has even a little better information than I have. The good news is, once we get past the construction, there will be some street side parking out there. So eventually, when people come back and we fill the parking lot, there'll be some extra places out there. Also, you may have seen in the media that a concept for an additional office building immediately across the street to the east has been announced, and that looks like an exciting project. So that's, I think, about the last parcel left around. And again, I would defer any questions about that to Randy. The other thing, if you haven't been by the Advanced Learning Library lately, swing by, go through the west side of the parking lot. We did receive one of the 13 Keeper of the Plains statues that were commissioned by Together Wichita as part of the sesquicentennial. We actually have the mayor's keeper, and it was installed by the park department last week, and I think it's incredible. So come take a look at that. For the Evergreen Branch, the construction documents, that project was approved by council, more money through. So the folks at Schaefer Johnson Cox Fry are finalizing construction documents. That's going more slowly than I think the stakeholders had anticipated. So we originally thought we might have to be closing that library for remodeling right after Labor Day. Then it looked like we would be closing in October. Now it looks like we'll be closing in December, and we won't be able to reoccupy until October of 2021. But what we have done to anticipate and planning for that, anything that we need to put into storage will go over into the central library, which has become kind of a citywide storage facility while they're working on other plans for that. We also have secured some small space. It used to be a small Grace Med clinic inside the Evergreen Recreation Center. We'll turn that into a library outlet with limited hours, where people will be able to return material, pick up material that we send out on hold, and probably keep a very small browsing collection if we let people browse by that time. We won't do public computers because those would be available in the Neighborhood Resource Center, which is right next door. So through most of our work has really been focused around the Linwood branch. The project has, the building permits have been received. So Jayco Construction is actually at work. That remodeling has started. We did have a meeting with Councilman Clendenin and the owner's rep last week, and we selected finishes. So we picked carpets and tile and all of the colors, things that's letting us then finish our specifications for furniture and equipment. We do need to go back to the city council to actually initiate the project. We went to the city council and we asked for permission to ratify the lease, but the lease is actually an operating expense. The way the city manages capital projects, we have to go back to initiate the capital side, which would cover the furniture and the equipment, and that requires a bonding resolution that they have to do. So we will be asking them to initiate that. We hope to take that to council on September 15th. The other thing that we have determined is that the city council has policy 13, which guides the process for naming of public facilities. And somehow we actually skipped that step here at the Advanced Learning Library, which we should not have done. But we will use it for this relocated branch. We know it shouldn't be called Linwood because that will just be confusing to people since it's no longer in the Linwood neighborhood. So that policy requires that the naming committee have one person from each one of the city council districts appointed to that. There is a process where you have to take public recommendations for names. The naming committee settles on a recommendation, and then that recommendation goes and is ultimately approved by the city council. What we hope to do, Kevin and I have talked a little bit with the mayor. I also talked with Councilman Clendenin, and so we are going to propose that the library board be designated to serve as that naming committee because you represent all of the requirements that that committee would have, and you're just well positioned to do that. That keeps you involved. It still fulfills the intent of the policy. So along with the bonding resolution, we will be asking the city council to do that. And assuming we get we're almost where we need to be on the budget for the furniture and equipment. If we can get the bonding resolution from the Public Works Department and the Law Department, then we'll be ready to go on September 15th. At this point, our project plan, we are using the city's project management office to guide this. And it looks like we will be ready to start occupancy right about the first of the year. So we're making good work there. And I think that was all that Randy maybe was going to report. I'm going to see if Randy chats or if Randy raises his hand, that means it's good. If there's something else, I'll have to. Okay, I saw a brief hand. Thanks, Randy.
All right, thank you for that report. Any questions or comments? A lot of information in that report. Randy's been a busy guy. And Randy, we appreciate all you're doing for us.
Oh, one thing I do want to say, if we are able to get the library board designated as the naming committee. We're going to ask Lauren to step in because Lauren sits on planning and facilities. She's been intimately involved in the Clap golf course planning and things. And so I did twist on her arm via email, and I think she'll kind of run points on that for you.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, don't hear any comments or questions, so we'll go on. Next on the agenda will be the support organization reports. Do we have any support organization reports?
I'm going to give you just 3 quick things. The Genealogy Society board continues to meet. They have transitioned, I think with good success, their monthly programs to Zoom, and they're continuing to do that. Some of those are open to the public. Some, I believe, will be member only. The Friends of the Library, even though they are not taking donations, people continue to leave donations. So they are trying to clear out their storeroom. They're doing that by doing more work with their online sellers, but I think they are contemplating the possibility of some sort of a no contact book sale here for sometime after Labor Day. And the foundation, obviously, as you heard from John, is really working on fundraising and grant writing on our behalf. So we appreciate everything that each one of those groups is doing.
Thank you. We'll go on now to the Director of Libraries report. Back to you, Cindy.
Okay, just by way of COVID update, we are continuing more or less at the same levels since we talked with you about last month. We are still doing the majority of our circulation through curbside and window service. We do have people who come into buildings. We're seeing a slight increase in circulation activity, but it's still substantially less than it would be otherwise. We have started some very limited programming of our own through Zoom. We've done a partnership with Sedgwick County Extension and their Master Gardeners. That was to be an in-person program, and that transitioned to Zoom. And the folks at the Extension office are fabulous at that. So I think we've learned a lot from them, and we feel like we're going to be ready to move a few of our activities, which would be online appropriate, into that format. We did have one group that did do a program in person at the Evergreen Branch. That was the amateur radio group, and it was only, I think, 5 or 6 people in a room that would normally hold over 100. But they did well with that also. So we'll see where that takes us. We are, at this point, working with Andy Goff. We would like to make sure that we can keep the Reverie coffee shop amenity in this building if at all possible. He is going to test a limited opening starting September 1st. They would be open from 10 to 2, Tuesday through Saturday. And what we'll be doing as part of that is borrowing from the park department some picnic tables that we'll put on that flex lawn space out at the southwest corner of the building, and then making it more readily available for people to come in and out of the catering door, so they could come into the building and then go sit outside to drink the coffee and do that. And we'll see how they do with that. I did just want to call out that we are now spending over $21,000 a month in extra cleaning. And that's above and beyond what we normally spend for our custodial services. So we really are doing all we can to try and keep things safe and to go through, but we will be pretty reliant on that CARES money. And then I did also want to share with you that we have had a second positive case among our own workforce with COVID, and we work very closely with the health department, with a medical officer from the fire department, and none of our employees have had to quarantine as a result of either one of those cases. But we do watch pretty carefully, folks, and we send people out if there's any evidence of symptoms or anything. So we're managing what happens in the workplace. Also, just on a brighter note, want to let you know that on Saturday, at the Angelou branch from 10 a.m. to noon. The League of Women Voters are going to use the parking lot to do a drive-up voter registration and census event that's part of the 19th Amendment parade that they're working on with the mayor. So it's kind of nice that we actually have an activity, an outdoor activity, and that is my report.
Thank you, Cindy. Does any board member have any questions or comments regarding the director's report? Okay, hearing none. Next, we'll go to announcements. Does anybody have an announcement that they would like to make? And I do, and I'll let anybody else go first. Okay.
This is Jennifer Goheen, and I just want to make a comment. I went to the Westlink branch, I think it was last week. My neighbor unfortunately went temporarily blind. So I went to go get some audiobooks for him. And I have to tell you, and I emailed Cindy about this, I was so impressed with what they are doing there. And I watched how they handled everyone that came in and the service they provided. And I immediately messaged Cindy and told her I was so impressed with how they handled everyone. They did a great job. So I just wanted to make that comment that I'm really pleased with how Cindy has surrounded herself with such a wonderful team and how lucky we are to have the workers that we do and the librarians that we do.
That's nice.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's, and each month in the packet that we get, I always read the monthly activity report and service highlights to get a feel for what's happening, not only here at the Advanced Learning Library downtown, but in our branches as well, because that is very important. And I think that the board needs to be aware of these things because that's what we're here for. So as far as my announcement, it's an announcement / question. The question is going to be, I really would like to see all of your faces here in the building. Who makes that decision, Cindy, as to whether or not, because September 15th is our next meeting, and that is Cindy's last meeting. And I gotta believe that every one of you would like to be here. So who makes this call?
Well, we follow the direction of the city manager on what he wants boards and commissions to do. And I know there's a desire to start meeting in person in September, but we're waiting. We can try it at the Evergreen branch. We don't have a room in this building.
We have a big room right out here that's not being used here at the Advanced Learning Library. So my suggestion on behalf of the board is going to be, let's contact the manager. Let's see if we can't get permission to meet in the room outside of the boardroom. It's a great big open area. There's no citizen traffic. We can spread out as far as we want, and let's have a meeting to celebrate Cindy's last meeting as executive director. Do I hear the board think that this is a good idea?
I like it.
Yeah.
Is this a one-time occurrence for celebrating Cindy? Or are you proposing we come back beyond that date?
Well, let's check with the manager and see what we can do. And obviously, if anybody's uncomfortable in meeting,
unknown participant is now exiting.
Not up there.
Not out there?
We'll work on something.
We're going to work on it. But the intent is that we all meet September 15th at the Advanced Learning Library in a room outside of the boardroom that we will accommodate for everybody. Any other announcements?
Because you were asking our opinions on that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, well, because my answer would be based off of the answer of my last question. I definitely will be there to send well wishes to Miss Cynthia, but beyond that, while COVID still exists, I would prefer to meet virtually.
Okay. So noted. It'll strictly be voluntary. Any other comments from anybody on the board before we adjourn? Hearing none, thank you for your service. We'll be in touch soon, and you all have a great day. We are adjourned.